I'm here gonna record chapter 2 of Magium for YouTube. We're gonna see where the character Barry and Darren left off. Here we go. Okay, so both me and Darren turn around at the same time. We see a slim, tall figure standing behind us with long black hair, fair skin, and a very serious look on her face. She's wearing leather pants, a long-sleeved white blouse, and a green hooded cloak. She appears to be somewhere in her early 20s. Okay. But that's not all there is to this woman. I can also sense a strong magical aura all around her. An aura that couldn't possibly be coming from a regular human. Could she be a banshee? My heart starts beating rapidly again. That night from 15 years ago is coming back to me. I can see it vividly, and I can still hear the laughter, that sinister, high-pitched laughter. Will it never stop haunting me? I breathe in deeply and try to calm down. This woman can't be a banshee. The feeling I'm getting now is too different from the one I got back then. Does that mean she's a mage? No, that would be impossible, and yet...
Barry,
whispers Darren.
Don't be afraid. I know white magic. I can purify her.
I realize Darren must have also sensed the magic coming from the woman and concluded that she's been possessed by a banshee. Banshees are parasitic spirits that need to inhabit bodies in order to survive. They usually spend a few weeks inside a body in a dormant state before taking over. During this phase, the host may develop magical powers. Once a banshee is in full control of the body, they say she has awakened. The only way you can save the original host once she's been possessed by a banshee is to use white magic to purify her before the banshee has fully awakened, which basically means killing the banshee without harming the host. However, the purification technique operates on the assumption that a woman cannot have magical powers of her own. They call it purification, but all the technique does, in fact, is to completely eradicate the aura that gives off the strong magical vibe, with the purpose of also eliminating the banshee along with it. On the other hand, if the aura does not in fact belong to a banshee, but to the woman herself, the purification would be nothing short of a death sentence. No, wait, listen to me, I blurt out. This woman isn't a banshee.
So what, you're suggesting she's a mage then? Barry, women can't be mages. There hasn't been a single recorded case woman mage in all of our world's history. Every time a woman developed magical powers, it's been because of a banshee. Every single time.
Don't you think I know that? But this one is different. If you try to purify her, you may well end up killing her.
How can you be so sure?
Because I met a banshee before, up close. Have you met a banshee before, Darren?
No,
he admits. You just said you trusted me enough to tell me your greatest weakness. I'm asking you to trust me on this too. Can you trust me on this, Darren? Darren gives me one long look, and then he sighs deeply.
Alright, we'll do it your way, but I'm keeping an eye on her. I swear, Barry, if it turns out you're only saying all of this because of her looks, I'm going to...
Would you guys... Alright, here goes the girl voice.
Would you guys mind telling me what you've been whispering about for the past minute?
The woman asks us. Okay, so we have 4 options this time. We can say her looks, deciding which one should make a pass at her, okay, just finishing our discussion from earlier, or discussing whether she's a banshee or not. Okay, I think we're gonna tell her the truth, that we were discussing whether she's a banshee or not. We were discussing whether you are a banshee or not, I tell her.
Oh,
she says. She appears shaken by my comment. Well, I'm so sorry to
Well, I'm so sorry to have bothered you then, she continues. I'll be on my way.
As she turns to leave, Darren calls after her.
Wait, you didn't let him finish. We've already concluded that you're not a banshee. You can stay.
She turns back towards us slowly.
I can?
She's trying to keep her expression as blank as possible, but there was a slight trembling in her tone as she asked her question, and her eyes are a bit watery. It appears she's been holding back tears.
Of course you can,
Darren answers.
Now, what was that you asked me in the beginning?
The woman's expression is slowly returning to normal. as she asked her initial question again.
I was asking if you were Darren, the healer in armor. I am indeed.
Answers Darren.
What business would you have with me?
Continue. Alright.
I require an escort. I'm not certain I can survive this tournament by myself, and I've heard of all your deeds of valor and all your legends, so I thought that maybe... Say no more! I will grant you my protection for the duration of your quest. From what you say, I would surmise that you're not actually trying to win the tournament. No, I'm not. I am looking for a friend, and I have reasons to believe that she's somewhere on this continent. But I don't have any specific lead just yet. For now, I just need to stay alive.
Then you can join us. We were just about to get out of here. We're way too out in the open right now.
Us? You planning to travel alongside this Stillwater? You can't trust him.
Oh wait, whoops, that was the girl talking.
Us? You're planning to travel alongside this Stillwater? You can't trust him.
Okay, so we could ask her what she has against me, or Barry, I guess. What she has against Barry. Ask why the two of us should trust her. Darren and Barry should trust her. Ask why she's so quick to trust Darren and not Barry. Yeah, they're gonna ask the girl why they should trust her and see what happens.
You're saying you can't trust me, but I don't see why either of us should trust you.
Oh, whoops. It's hard to know which voices. Okay. You're saying you can't trust me, but I don't see why either of us should trust you, I tell her. What if you're not in fact looking for a friend and are just here to win the tournament and are just like every other participant? What proof do you have to back up your claim?
I'm not.
She hesitates.
Whoa! Let's all calm down, says
Darren. He turns to the woman.
Listen, I understand your concern, but this man saved my life, and I intend to repay my debt to him. If you're looking for an escort, then it's going to be the three of us traveling together. I'm not accepting any alternatives. Okay?
The woman pauses to consider Darren's words.
Very well, she says. If that's the way it has to be, then I am forced to comply. But now that I'll be constantly watching my back, I am not easily convinced as you, healer in armor. Great, Darren says. Now that we've got that settled, let's be off. Adventure awaits.
Okay, wait, I call out. You still didn't tell us your name. The woman turns towards me and gives me a pondering look. After careful consideration, she decides to answer.
It's Kate. My name is Kate.
With those last words, the three of us leave the clearing and head into the forest in hopes of finding some place away from the ongoing battles that are being waged across the land. Continue. Hello. Alright. As we march through the forest, I hear a few loud beeps coming from my right pocket.
Barry, what's that sound?
Darren asks.
I know that sound. Don't tell me you brought a fortune teller's trinket with you all the way here. Are you planning to tell us our fortunes, Barry?
Fortune teller's trinket. That's what most people call these devices nowadays. But very few people know what they really do and how they actually work. My research has led me to believe that these devices harness their energy from the magic all around them. The more energy they harness, the more effective they become. Since mages are usually spread far apart from one another, and they don't really have any reason to cast powerful spells one after the other, the effects of such a device are mostly negligible. But imagine the amount of energy it could gather in a place filled with the most powerful mages in the world, who are constantly fighting each other. I pulled the device out of my pocket. It looks much like a toy, with a few buttons and a screen. As I press the buttons, different letters magically appear on the screen. Sounds like an iPhone. Forming words and showing me numbers, the device calls these my stats. My stats consist mostly of various physical attributes such as strength, speed, reflexes, toughness, observation, and hearing. But there's also others like combat technique, ancient languages, and premonition. Okay, so it looks like those are gonna be our stats for our character Barry. Alright, interesting. When the device harnesses enough energy, it announces me by beeping. I wonder if the phone's gonna beep. And it then allows me to invest a limited number of points in my stats. At the moment, all of my stats are at 0, which means that the device's energy was completely depleted when I bought it. I guess I'll have to start leveling them from scratch. Investigating my points in stats is supposed to actually enhance my real attributes, as long as I keep the device close enough to me that it comes into contact with my magical aura. As I spend my time here, I'm expecting to hear these beeps more and more often. I'll have to think twice about the way I spend my points though, since I have no way of knowing when I'll get my next batch of points, and no way to change my mind after I've invested them. The maximum values that appear now for each stat are likely to increase as time passes. This device is mostly used by fortune tellers because of its premonition stat. It provides them with some very vague glimpses into the future that they are then free to interpret to their own liking. I wonder if the ancient languages stat actually means that I'll start being able to understand and speak ancient tongues. Oh, probably. I heard there are many such writings on this continent, and I heard some people here don't speak the common tongue. Okay, so we can invest points now or invest points later by pressing the stats button at the top of the screen. I think we're going to go ahead and invest points now. Okay. Since this is the first time you're entering the stats screen, here's a short introduction. This is where you can spend your available points by pressing on any one of the stats from the stats screen. Upon each press, you will spend 1 available point in order to gain 1 level in that stat. Your number of ancient available points is shown at the top of the stat screen. You can cancel or confirm your changes by using the buttons at the bottom of the screen. Every once in a while, the game will check to see if your stats are high enough to perform a certain action in a scene. If your stat level is not high enough, let's move this. Here we go. If your stat level is not high enough, you will fail your check, which will be announced by a red message on top of your screen. A successful stat check will be shown in green. Here are 2 examples. Okay, 2 examples. Red means it failed, green means it was successful. Let's put our stats. Okay, here are our stats. So we got 3 points, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 different areas. Okay, so if we remember from chapter 1, we chose Barry to start out kind of as afraid about the tournament. So we're probably going to put 1 in hearing and 1 in observation, because he didn't really fight. He's not like a fighter yet, I don't think. He's just like more like defensive and observant. Yeah. And then we'll say that he studied ancient languages. Okay, and then we'll confirm. Alright. Okay, so we read this already. Yeah. Okay.
Barry, don't you think there are more important things to do right now than play around with that toy?
Darren asked me. This isn't a toy, I answer him as I put the device back into my pocket. And I think you should pay more attention to where you're going instead of lecturing me, because I see we just ran out of the forest.
Quiet, you two. We've got company, Kate says.
She's right. Looking all around us, I see there are fallen trees everywhere in this area, and there are quite a few dead bodies lying around. It seems there's been a battle here, or maybe several. The victors were in the middle of looting the bodies when they noticed us. There's 3 of them in total. One of them is considerably well built for a mage. He has a very long black beard covering his face. He seems to be in his mid-40s. He's wearing heavy armor and is holding a large battle axe. The other 2 are a bit skinnier and younger and are wearing chainmail vests instead, but they're holding no weapons. The bearded mage with the battle axe shouts to Darren. Quite the team you've assembled there, healer in armor. A healer, a banshee, and an ordinary human. It's like you're dying to lose this tournament. Kate was visibly affected by the banshee comment. Her eyes twitched, and her look went subconsciously towards the ground. Mind your tongue, fool, I replied to him. Who are you calling an ordinary human? Have you not heard of still waters? Ha!
Still waters are legend and nothing more. I don't know what you were trying to achieve by joining this tournament, boy, but soon it won't matter anymore.
Why?
Darren asked the bearded mage.
Why have you done this?
He gestures towards the lifeless bodies lying all around us.
Nobody told us we should start killing each other,
Darren continues.
They told us there are no rules until they give us our first objectives. We don't even know if there was going to be combat involved. Why did you have to kill all these people?
Because there are no rules, answers the mage with the battle axe. No rules means we can do whatever we want. And what we want is to eliminate as much of the competition as possible before the main event starts.
He grins.
My sons and I were a little worried at first. We were afraid we might not be ready for the big leagues. But here we are.
The bearded mage exclaims as he raises his hands and takes a victorious stance.
But enough talk. We all know what's coming.
His grin widens as he looks straight at me.
First rule of combat,
says the bearded mage. Suddenly, one of the two younger mages that were standing next to the mage with the battle axe vanishes and appears right behind me with the dagger in his hand. Always kill the weakest enemies first, the bearded mage continues. Uh-oh. So we failed the premonition check, we failed the reflex, and we failed toughness. The young mage slashes his dagger towards my neck. The slash is too fast for me to dodge, and when it hits my neck, it slits my throat right open. I desperately try to stop the flow of blood by covering the open wound with my hands, but it is much too late. Barry! I hear Darren scream as he rushes towards me. The last thing I see is Darren trying in vain to heal my wound as my consciousness slowly fades away. Oh, wow. So it looks like Barry died. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna load from the last checkpoint and then, I guess change our stats, to see if we can survive this battle against the three mages. Alright guys, so I'm gonna end the episode there. Hope you guys had a good time. Feel free to leave some comments or thoughts and maybe like what you want to see for the next chapters. I don't know.